Hey, Landon. This is just a quick and rather hasty, unscripted video response of mine. I hope you can accept it. Um, we don't know each other, and I just wanted to give you some thoughts about the whole Sharia issue. Basically, this video is a reaction um, to Sharia in the UK, and I've seen one or maybe two videos where you had something concerned with Sharia, and I just draw that together if you allow. At first, I think you take a rather legalistic approach, like Alexander Isaievich Solzhenitsyn said, laws do not exist because of something, but in order to prevent something. And I think I have I share this rather pragmatic approach. So, what are the consequences of these arbitration courts? I think you underestimate social pressure. Because I don't know how familiar you are with Middle Eastern societies and with people coming from those societies, and whatever struck me the most as a Westerner living in the Middle East for quite a time was that the amount of social pressure um, which is inflicted on the people by themselves and their let's say close social relatives is enormous. Um, the the problem is the Islamic world never made the step from collectivism um, to individualism, and I think this is a harsh statement, but I think from my point of view, it's not an overestimation, and the societies are within the very tiniest units, like the family or the marriage, um, extremely authoritarian. Maybe you have seen the better parts of the Arab world, but I or the Muslim world, but I seen I would say the representable parts and social shifts, and I must say um, they are different in that way, and it is as a Westerner, it takes a lot of cultural empathy to even to try to understand that. But I think it is a given fact, and the problem is, for sure, these arbitration courts they are for people. They can decide if they go to a normal court or to this arbitration court. But as I know, Muslim societies around the world and in the Western world, um, there will be people coerced to take the arbitration court just by social pressure. That's it. The Muslim world is extremely religious, and you got to be a public worshipper. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, I don't want to go to the imam. I go to the civil judge." I think that really happens um, at these arbitration courts, and the problem deriving from that issue is you get a lot of arbitrations, and with that comes that you have an increasing of social influence of a caste that is called the Muslim clergy, or at Arabic the ulama. And the problem with them is they are indeed a rather monolithic group. The orthodoxy is the prevailing strand of Islam, and I think 80 or 90% of Muslims on the planet they are Orthodox, Sunni, or mainstream Shia Muslims. So um, the problem with that social caste is that it really promotes an ideology that neglects something very important in our democracies. You know the term hakimiyya in Arabic. It's like you can say sovereignty, and the problem is the Islamic theology never um, developed a term for people's sovereignty. The problem is all sovereignty for them comes from God, so they are from what is in the mainstream textbooks. They are theocrats, and the problem is that we have an integration problem. I think nobody can deny that, and we have some kind of, let's say, a cultural cold war between extremely religious Islam Muslims against against their fellow citizens. I'd say not. It's not even an issue that I don't want to blame all Muslims, but I say that in the Islamic society there's a 30 to 40% majority that is very politicized and that is very over pious, and these people they terrorize their environment. In the Muslim world, against Muslims even more than in the West, and so we have an aggressive minority that is linked to that clergy because if you're hyper religious, you hang out with the imam and not with, let's say, Joe Sixpack or Muhammad bin Muhammad, you know. And I think so. Is it really what we want? That these people they gain more influence in our society and over our own Muslim community? I think that is a step which is detrimental to what our states are and what our states want. Also, I want to counter some notion that you propagated that you say there is not a single version of Sharia. The problem is there is, more or less, you know. Um, as I was still a Muslim, I was looking for a codification that is, let's say, compatible with human rights, and I ended up with two authors that I could access, and I speak English, Arabic, and French. And there was one Turkish author. He's a university professor of religious science. It's Yasar Nuri Öztürk, and he's and another is was from Pakistan, Javed Ahmed Ramidi. The problem is, the it is an absolute minority. You know, if you line up 100 imams, you will have maybe five progressive ones, and the rest is um, orthodox and lives a life and preaches a way of life that is um, not compatible with Western civilization. And that's the problem. You know, there are different codifications of the Sharia, but the majority codifications, which are the mainstream 12 Shia, and the four madhahib, the four schools of Sunni thought, they don't differ that much. You know, it's like a difference, do we stone someone for adultery, or do we give him 100 lashes publicly? You know, I mean, okay, whipping somebody is not that worse than throwing rocks at him until he's dead, but definitely, it's definitely not possible in a way. It's unthinkable to us. Come on. And so I think basically I am for a ban of these arbitration courts because because of the above mentioned things, and also think it would send a message to those who quite openly want to implement a theocratic system in their own home countries and also in our societies. And I think we should be tough on this issue. So I hope I could give you just some thoughts. I didn't say I know everything. I'm open to discussion too, but I just wanted to give you my perspective. So thanks for listening.